Greetings, chosen ones. Peace to Yahuwah. I've been thinking about this topic for a while now. Some people in our family being gatekeepers because, when I was trying to get through my breakthroughs back then when I was new and transitioning through, learning and growing in spirit and trying to bust down a lot of these generational curses that was in my family. I was not only fighting people who was outside the family, I was also fighting people who were inside the family, right? Relatives, loved ones whom I never expect would be fighting against me. The fights were real, can I tell you? So I'm just getting this out as a video. It's gonna relate to somebody. Somebody's gonna be saying, oh my gosh, I went through that. Because I believe a lot of these demons inside these vessels they be using around us, a lot of times they do not change their tactics. It's the same old tactics, different vessels, okay? So a lot of stuff I be saying now, y'all gonna relate to it like, oh my goodness. She knows something about me or what? Yeah, your relatives, a lot of people in your family, they are just not going to give you good advice. They are going to give you bad advice, whether they know it or not, because a lot of them are gatekeepers. They are gatekeepers for your bloodline. Whenever you are growing spiritually or you are near to getting to something spiritually, whether it's your mission, knowing about your mission, whether it's getting close to a breakthrough, whether it's attaining something of some form of information that the enemy knows that would be used by you for your greater good, is like alarm bells start ringing off in the spiritual realm, and these people are activated vessels by minions of the dark world, and they be put strategically in places in your life. You're seeing them, you're trying to get advice from these people, you be asking them questions. How do I do this, so and so? Because you're trying to break generational curses, right? They, majority of the times, are always going to be giving you bad advice. They trying to keep you from their breaking them curses and trying to keep you asleep so you don't arise and take on your mission. And they would give you bad advice because, let's be real, a lot of these people in our bloodline, they are still living under generational curses themselves. How the heck can you ask someone in your family or relatives, how do I break this curse? How do we get out of this? We've been stuck in this curse for decades. And then they be giving you these little advice, oh, we did that. And then when you try them, it leads you in circles, or it puts you in another situation that is worse off than when you started, like before you went to them to ask them questions. You'd be like, is this deja vu or something? You had to start all over again because you didn't get it right the first time, because you done exactly what they wanted you to do. Take that misleading information, that bad advice, and you ran with it thinking that it was going to help you to break those generational curses, but it didn't, because those advice was not the solution. It was not given for you to break the curses with, because These people, they don't know what to tell you how to break these curses. They have never broken them themselves. They're still living in their under generational curses. How many of you can say we've had these things in our family for decades, for years, and these curses have never been broken? You can list a couple of them on your fingers right off the bat, and no one in your family has ever broken them. And everyone comes down the line always asking or trying to break them. Some people tried and failed. Now you're the one here looking back and you're trying to break it now. You're trying to get advice from these people, but you either end up in circles or worse off, especially if you listen to their advice. So I'm just going to tell you the hard truth, which I already started telling you already. Stop asking these people in your bloodline, how do I break this curse? How do I get this breakthrough? A lot of the times they don't know. They don't know how, so they can't guide you because they themselves are still under the curse. Don't you think that if they could have broken the curse themselves, they would have, and you wouldn't be now here trying to break it now? Don't you think that they would have done this if they knew how? That alone should be enough to show you that they don't know how to break it. So stop asking them how to. Because you came, you saw them in this curse, they're still living in it. Now you're scrambling, trying to break it, then you're going to go ask them, how do you break this curse? How do we get out of it? They don't know, honey. If they knew, you wouldn't come in this generation trying to break it for them and yourself and for your generation to come. It would have been broken before you even birthed it into this world. Okay? So get that out of your head. If they didn't help you before, they can't help you now if they still living under the curse. Repeat after me. People who are still living under the curse cannot help you to break the curse. Okay? Wow. They can't help you to break none of these curses, whether it's, generational curse of poverty, generational curse of lack of marriage, generational curse of people dying young in the family. They can't help you because if they could, it would have already been broken. So, okay, let's say, for example, someone wants to break the generational curse of lack of marrying in the family. It would be, listen, you don't have to take my advice. There's fasting and prayer, you know, that's always best. But, let's say, right, that someone is trying to break that cycle, right? Whether someone in the family had been, you know, erecting evil altars to make sure that no one gets married in the family for years, or whether it's an evil spirit attached to the bloodline, or whether it's just lack of knowledge that's causing people in your family just never getting married, right? Um, since a lot of people in your family, your relative, they've never done this, maybe some attempted it and they got engaged, but engagement was called off, so they didn't, actually carry out the process of actually marrying. So it will still be referred to as lack of marriage because they didn't get to that point. Anyways, if You cannot get it from said people in the bloodline because they don't know how. They lack the knowledge because they could have if they knew how, right? It would be best to ask people outside of the family, right? And you're not gonna run to every and anyone and ask for advice such as this, right? Because clearly it could be a lack of knowledge problem which is hindering your bloodline from attaining this, right? So if you checked everything out and it's definitely not some altars that is erected against your family, or you did some fasting and prayer and Yahuwah reveals to you that um it's not some evil spirit attached to your bloodline issue and whatnot, then clearly it would be lack of knowledge in the family that's hindering the family from generations to get this thing going. So go out, ask people who have been married for years. Their family are not suffering from this problem that your family bloodline is suffering from. You could go and ask them, right? Matter of fact, compile a list of at least 7 people. You know for a fact they have been married for at least 15 years or more. When you check their bloodline, all them other relatives have always been married. They have a nice, strong legacy of marriage going for them and their family. I'd reach out to people like those and let them be mentors. I'd find out the type of books they are reading, read them too. I'd find that I'd find out the type of movies they are watching. I'm going to be watching them too. I'd find out the type of place they're going, meeting people there. I'd be going there too. I'd find out what they know in their bloodline that my bloodline don't know about, because clearly it's a lack of knowledge problem, and they got some secrets that they know that your family don't know, but you need to know. So you're gonna compile the list, at least 7 people. I don't think you need more. And reach out to them, have them as mentors, have them as tutors, have them give you information, and a lot of this is gonna come, well, it's not going to be activated unless you realize that you have to change your mindset, right? Because if it was a lack of knowledge problem that was hindering your bloodline for years, then a changed mindset has to go with all this information that you will be receiving, because you just aren't going to break these curses with the same old mindset you had before, because that's what kept all of your other family members and relatives in the loop. Deja vu. Don't just take my word for it. Fasting and prayer, go ask the Most High Yahuwah how you go about doing what you do, because I don't know what really is affecting your bloodline. Because as I said, there could be a lot of issues. Could be a spiritual issue, could be a lack of knowledge issue, could really be a curse issue. A lot of people for generations were erecting up altars against other relatives so they wouldn't get married because of jealousy and envy, and in sacrificing, relatives in the family. A lot of people been cursing their relatives. So you need to find out what been the cause of the curse cycle in your family. Then you can know how to go about breaking it from off the bloodline. Okay? Yeah. Patience is key, because you cannot expect to start a generational curse breaking journey today and expect that tomorrow is going to be broken and yeah, I'm living my best life now. Get real. Be realistic. some of these things, depending on what is the cause of the problem, is gonna take a while. Okay? For some people, it's gonna be years, right? Some people don't get it right and they repeat the cycle. You either had the wrong mindset, you didn't want to change your mindset, so you repeated the cycle. So even with new information, you kept repeating the cycle. You still didn't learn your lessons. You got tested by the universe. You were thrown into deja vu again because you didn't learn your lessons, and you fell into the traps because the enemy does set traps along the way. You didn't think traps were going to be set, so you would go back into the cycle. Listen to me, curse breaking is not just get up and feel like you're going to skip like Alice in Wonderland down the golden path. What is the golden street? I don't remember. I haven't watched that in years. Anyways, you're not going to just skip down the path and find your happy forever after life easy peasy lemon squeezy like that. No, you're gonna have to be prepared to, along with the information, knowledge you're receiving, changing your mindset, you're gonna have to be thrown in some spiritual fights because you're gonna be faced with spiritual battles, okay? And as I said, depending on how and what the reason is for the generational cycle over your bloodline, some fights are going to be more extreme than others. Yahuwah's gonna have to lead you to know what are you gonna do about this, because they keep erecting evil altars so that people don't break this curse. They're the ones that curse in the family. How do we stop this? And they will send witchcraft and black magic, and they be literally sacrificing people in your family, especially if it's the case where everyone be dying young. That's not something that you're gonna get up and just boom, that's gonna break in one day. No. Prepare to fight spiritually. So you're gonna need some spiritual backative. And how are you gonna get these spiritual backative? Fasting and prayer. So work on getting your spiritual backative. Start the fasting, start seeking some guidance because you're gonna need it. And if a lot of us are like really real with ourselves, we could admit that, if you sat down and traced your ancestry, after you done asked everybody all them questions, grandma, great, great, and you can literally track how far a lot of them curses be coming from as far back as 4 generations. So, yeah, you're really gonna need the help. And it will do you good to not focus on things on a superficial level. You gotta learn to also tap into things also on a spiritual level, because we are soul, body, and spirit. Okay, so we can't just be functioning with what we are seeing only. We also have to be in tune with the spiritual realm, right? Because a lot of these manifestations that you would want to bring into the bloodline, like to break the generational cycle of lack of marriage, it first, has to manifest in the spiritual before we see it in the physical, right? So we have to be walking also in the spirit, which is why I said that you cannot start your journey of being a curse breaker or, you know, generational cycle breaker and you lack patience. You have to have patience. And there are some ways that, these cycles, breaking them, it can be accelerated somewhat, but be mindful that it's Yahuwah accelerating them for you. So I know through my experiences that, worship was one thing for me, other than fasting and prayer. Worship, praise and worship accelerated the physical. While Yahuwah is guiding you towards your journey of breaking these curses, breaking these cycles, some of them can be delayed. You might get spiritual attacks. Suppose someone in the family is fighting back because they are activated by evil spirits in the bloodline that don't want you breaking these cycles. It brings me back to my point. You need spiritual help. And if this is a case, you're getting attacks, from activated relatives and loved ones in the family, because they be activated by the same demons that hold the strongholds over your bloodline, you're gonna have to fight back spiritually, right? And worship was one tool I realized whenever I got in some serious worship mode, I threw down some 10 days of praise and worship. And can I tell you, I need to do a testimony on that. 10 days. I have a 10 days worship experience where I got up for 10 days and I worshiped Yahuwah for 10 days. And can I tell you, almost for each day is like boom, a breakthrough, boom, a breakthrough. Almost every day something happened. I was like, what the heck? I didn't even put it together until them 10 days of worship was over. And I went back to go read my diary, my daily journal. And I was like, what the heck? This happened on day one? That happened? I need to do a video on it, y'all. Anyways, worship can accelerate a lot of things in the spiritual for you. There are other things, but, you have to request me to do a video on that. But there are other things, because if I should go and check my journal now, I'm pretty sure I did a lot of other things that accelerated the process. Yeah. So while Yahuwah is leading you on along the way, he will reveal to you in whatever way he chooses. He speaks to us in numerous ways. So he'll speak to you through dreams and visions, right? As you know, I'm a dreamer, and Yahuwah speaks to me heavily in dreams when it comes to my destinies, or if there's something that he's warning me about. I've seen through dreams a lot of people that have been trying to attack me. I've seen through dreams a lot of promises Yahuwah was making for me. I've seen through dreams a lot of warnings, not just for curse breaking, but also for even reality. Like if I was following someone on social media and these persons are new in my life, if he realizes that those people were taking me down a bad path, I would get dreams literally of him warning me, no, 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 that person you're following, you need to cut them off. They are bad for your health and where I am taking you. Yes, so you literally have to pay attention to your dreams, because this is going to be a spiritual force and a communicative way in how Yahuwah is going to use it as a tool to warn you and lead you towards your missions, and breaking a lot of these cycles, these toxic, negative, cursed cycles. And another way that Yahuwah will be guiding you is through intuition. I've been around so much situations where after I done finished talking to someone, I would literally feel in my spirit, no, don't trust that person. I'm like, okay. You just gotta roll with it, Don't say it's all in your head and shrug it off. That's the worst mistake you could ever make, because the devil sends enemies and he sets up traps for you along the way so you don't break these cycles. You think he's going to let you tear down all these evil altars out of your bloodline easy peasy lemon squeezy? No, he's gonna put up a fight. These altars give his minions work to do. These altars rob you of your destiny, of your riches, of your health, and he has all of that under his control. You know how much houses and lands people could have had, but they lost it because they didn't break these generational cycles? You know how much lives could have been spared from early death if people just broke these generational cycles? Just to show you that it's not easy. A lot of people died and it still hasn't been broken. But that don't mean you can't do it. You just have to know how, because a lot of them, they were trying to break it without Yahuwah. They was trying to break it without spiritual backative. You can't do that. It's like trying to fight a narcissist on physical strength. You can't rely on physical strength to fight a narcissist. Look, maybe that's a bad comparison, but I'm going to use it nonetheless. You need spiritual backative, because at the end of the day, a narcissist, all right, someone who is NPD is led by demons, yo. They have a spiritual team behind them. This spiritual team gives them intel on you, intel that they can use against you, to blackmail you, to tear you down. Do you think that you can go against these people without also having spiritual backative? Their spiritual backative is the dark force. You need some spiritual backative. I'm just saying. If you want to go do it on your own, be my guest. But when it don't work out, don't come crying to me, because I didn't tell you to go do it on your own. Get some spiritual backative, fasting and prayer, and then go tear those generational cycles down, okay? So anytime you be feeling any inkling or warning, and you know that intuition be warning you, don't do that. Don't trust that person. Sometimes intuition is trying to steer you away from traps, so be mindful, okay? Be mindful. Speaking of intuition, you could also verbally hear, if you're a spiritual person, verbally hear Yahuwah's translated voice speak to you in English, telling you um what he wants you to do. He basically verbally guiding you. So I remember one time when I was going through something, I wanted to leave a location because it was getting stressful. And verbally, as I sat there and I was, you know, trying to tap into the spiritual realm, because I wanted to hear what kind of guidance he had for me. I heard his voice saying, literally, I am not done. I have unfinished business over there. So don't leave that location. Or if you do leave that location, you still got to remain over at that job, because I have unfinished business over there at that job. And I was like, oh man, but I really want to bounce. I really want to leave all this behind. I gotta stay. It's like, I got unfinished business to do for you. So you can't bounce, you can't leave that location. So verbally, if you are spiritually inclined like that, he will verbally tell you what he's doing so you're not lost in the loop. He will tell you, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and you know what it is in regards of whether for your mission or for your destiny. He's going to inform you what he's doing, if you should move, if you should stay, yada yada yada. And I think this is the fourth way in which Yahuwah will guide you, through meditation. I like to meditate more after I read his word, like Bible, and I read a lot of Bible based books. And I like to meditate a lot on them. I'm not talking about the mainstream version's way of meditating. I am talking about, simple meditation, because mainstream media has corrupted how we really should have been meditating to really receive guidance and downloads from Yahuwah. And because they've corrupted it, a lot of people, have been, yeah, I don't even know what to say. Maybe you just didn't get what you should have get from the right source, because you're doing some stuff in the meditation that is corrupting the process. I would have to do a video on it to really explain it, because saying it like this, you're gonna be like, oh, are you against meditation? No, I'm not against it. I am just saying that how mainstream media projects and tells you to meditate, it's been corrupted, okay? So you gotta look into some practices that they're doing and remove a lot of the corruption and just work with the simpleness of it in its purest form of meditating. And fourth and last, divine messenger help, or help from heavenly messengers. You call them angels, right? Yeah. So I've noticed this during my 21 days fasting. I noticed, and I did a video on it. I did a video while I was fasting for those 21 days, all my experiences, right? I have an experience that I started to hear heavenly messengers when I got up a couple of nights to pray while I was on my 21 days fast. I got in touch with heavenly messengers who were helping me with my missions. They were teaching me stuff. They were giving me intel on a lot of stuff. And they were a big help during my fasting journey, and even after that, because they were with me for a while until I don't know if they disappeared, but I stopped hearing them. I hear them like once in a while, from time to time. They'll pop in, hey, they be cheering me on, girl, you still got this. And then I don't hear from them again. So I don't know if I need to wait on another spiritual team. But for now, my spiritual backative is only Yahuwah and his Ruach. So far, until he decides to give me another spiritual team, whatever that entails or whoever that is. But for now, it's just me and him, right? Everything Yahuwah, Yahuwah. It's always been me and him. So when I received that spiritual team, it was kind of confusing because I've never heard anyone talking about it before. How, heavenly messengers could actually guide you on your missions, right? And they gave me a lot of advice. At times, I was like, yo, these bees are rough. these beans are rough. I want to talk to Yahuwah. Like, what's up with y'all? um, but yes, they are used to help you, with your missions. And I do believe that, because they were giving me some intel, they were also helping me to break some curse cycles over my life, right? And a lot of things, they were guiding me along the way, because while I could always hear them talking when I was maneuvering before I stopped hearing them, even day-to-day activities, I'd be on the road and they'd be like, oh no, don't take that bus, no, mm-mm. Mm-mm. And when I hear that, I don't even question it. I just don't take that bus, or they'd be, giving me deadlines for whatever assignments they gave me to do, and they'd be saying, no, this assignment is due XYZ, you got to get that out of the way because you need to start, doing other stuff, teaching me time management and all these things. So, yes, another way Yahuwah is going to help you to break generational curses and cycles, he might give you a spiritual team. Okay, heavenly messengers, whatever you want to call them, you're going to get a spiritual, you might get a spiritual team. Because I can say you will, because I don't know how Yahuwah rolls with this. I just know that I received some spiritual help in that capacity, and I'm grateful for the experience. So I don't know if it's a everybody thing. I'm just sharing my experience, right? I don't know if maybe if you went on a 21 days fast, maybe you'll get a spiritual team too, or some heavenly messenger help. I don't know. Go try it. You won't know until you try, because that's how I activated them. And I still hear from them even from time to time, right? But they're just not with me as much as they were during those days and after the fasting ended. They just tap in from time to time. They tell me stuff, they celebrate me, oh, you're doing good, and then they tap out again. Okay, so that's it. I hope this video was helpful for someone or many people, and drop in the comments, what you have also noticed on your, generational cycle breaking journeys. And yeah, that's it. Peace to Yahuwah. I'm out again. Bye.